Buenos dias. Okay, that's all the Spanish you're going to get out of me for this homily. I'm actually using, this is a book called the Magnificat. I think they make a publication of this in Spanish, and what it is it's correct, right? Yeah. What it is it's got all of the readings for the Mass during every month. So you get one of these every month. And it's got all the Mass readings, and it's got, does anybody struggle with how do I pray in the morning, how do I pray in the evening? This has evening prayer and morning prayers listed out for you. So you can, it's very instructional in that way, and it's got all the parts of the Mass in it. It's really wonderful. I'm not trying to do a sales pitch here, but I am going to be using it like to stay close to the text in English, right? Because everything was just done in Spanish, and it'll help me follow through here. So I just wanted you to know what this book was. If you want to get one, they're available in English or Spanish, and I find them very helpful, as you will see. I'm going to preach principally here on the collect, which is the opening prayer for the Mass. And the part I'm going to preach on in Spanish is, Haz que ninguna ocupación terrena sirva de obstáculo a quienes van presuroso al encuentro de tu Hijo. Okay, which in English is, may no earthly undertaking keep those who set out in haste to meet your Son. So let nothing in the world, nothing that we are occupying ourselves with in the world, no work, no study, no recreation, no nothing, no money, no relationships, may nothing in the world that we do keep us from coming to see your Son, running out to meet your Son. That's what this Advent season is for, right? It's for remembering that Jesus not only came once, but that Jesus is coming again. And that we have to be ready to run out to meet Him when He goes. Think of all the parables that talk about waiting for and going out to meet Jesus. The one that comes to mind most prominently is the wise and the stupid virgins, right? 5 virgins have lamps and they have oil for their lamps. 5 virgins have lamps, but they run out of oil. They let worldly things get in the way. And so they didn't keep their lamps trim. They didn't keep oil in the lamp so that when Jesus came, when the bridegroom came, they would have oil in their lamps. This is really, really important, specifically in the Advent season, because it gives us the purpose of our focus. What we celebrate in Christmas, which is what this season is preparing us for, is the first coming of Jesus. He came once, incarnate in the womb of the Virgin Mary, was born into the world. Really, truly, Jesus, God, came among us. Right? But we Christians, even though Jesus has come already, still celebrate Christmas, but with an added bonus of remembering that He's going to come again. And so this Advent season focuses not only on the first coming of Jesus at Christmas time, but also the fact that He's going to come again, and that we need to live our lives in a way that prepares us to run out to meet Christ. So I'll say this again. What we prayed at Mass, the whole purpose of this Mass, the thing that we're focusing on in this Mass is this. May no earthly undertaking hinder those who set out in haste to meet your Son. But think of all of the things that get in our way every day. Right? It was about 10 o'clock this morning when I got to my morning prayers. Should be the first thing I do in the morning, right? Yes? Morning prayers, first thing. I didn't do that. Why? I slept in. It was Sunday, right? I got my coffee. I took my time. I drank my coffee. I started watching YouTube. And then before you know it, it's almost 10 o'clock, and I haven't prayed my morning prayers yet. Now, you'll be happy to know I did pray my morning prayers. But there was something that was getting in the way of that. It was bad prioritization. I lost track of time. Can you imagine if you were standing in front of Jesus at the end of time and he's like, why did you fail so badly? And you're just like, oh, Jesus, I lost track of time. Remember, he says, I'm coming like a thief in the night. You're not going to know the day or the time or the hour or the place. Well, you'll know the place. It's right here, right? But you're not going to know when he comes again. We have no excuse then to say, Lord, I just lost track of time. Because with St. Paul, we say, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day. Today, right now. We should live every day as if when we lay down to go to sleep, Jesus is going to come for us. Jesus is going to come and take us to himself. And so we live each day as if he's going to do that at the end of the day. So we don't let anything today get in our way from living the best way that we can to love the Lord. Right? Now, how do we do that, though? Because there are so many things that get in our way. Television, computers, phones, sex, food, sleep, drugs, work, family problems. Right? How many of you have experienced a problem with any one of these things in your spiritual life? How many of you have no idea what I'm talking about because you don't speak English? No, I'm just kidding. By the way, y'all, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to learn how to evangelize. And this is you making up for what I would love to be able to do. I would love to be able to speak Spanish. But this is how you can make up for my shortcoming, okay? If you know who here doesn't understand what I'm saying, this is your chance to share with them what I said to you. In your own words. Switch it up. Say the general gist of what I was talking about, right? And that way you're practicing saying the truth. You're practicing preaching the gospel. You're practicing evangelization. Even though the person you're probably talking to, your abuela or abuelo, they probably know all this stuff already. It's good for you to practice it and to share with them what Father Michael said in English. Is that fair? If I can trust you to do that, then I'd feel a whole lot better knowing that what I'm saying in English, everybody's eventually gonna understand. Okay? We'll make that agreement? Bueno. That means good in Spanish. Okay. So how do we sort of overcome all of these obstacles? Well, first of all, the most important thing for us to recognize in the starting place, where we start from, is in the very celebration that we're preparing for right now, the fact that Jesus has come. God is here, everything's going to be okay, right? How many of you guys have been in a chaotic situation and somebody that you trust just kind of swooped in and said, y'all, it's okay, I'm here, right? A lot of times kids, brothers, young brothers probably, maybe even sisters, although sisters are perfect, I know, so we'll stick with brothers. But how many of you brothers have been picked on by your older brother, or maybe you've got a bigger, younger brother? See some hands. I'm the older brother, okay? So I was really mean to my little brother. I still feel bad about that today, and I've told him I'm sorry, but I can't change how mean I was as an older brother, okay? When brothers are fighting, and there's no resolution because there's no authority there, they're peers, right? So brothers are fighting. When mom or dad come in, now not mom with a spoon, right? But mom, calm mother, calm mom. Children, what is going on? What's the problem? Or dad comes in. Not dad, but dad, like calm dad. Children, my sons, explain to me what's going on, right? Now, this is just to share with you. When in my house growing up, this is the way it worked. My brother and I would fight. My mother would come in and yell at us. That would normally do the trick. If it didn't, if we talked back to mom, then the temperature in the house dropped 40 degrees. The lights started dimming. The earth quaked. Boom, boom, boom. And my father would come around the corner. and we would all die in fear and trembling. And you know what we would do? This is actually a beautiful understanding of the Blessed Virgin Mary. You know what we would do as soon as Dad got up and we heard boom, 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 boom? We would fall to our knees and start begging to our mom, Mom, please, we're really sorry. We're really, really sorry. Could you please make him go away, right? And that's a great image of our Blessed Mother, right? When we offend the Lord, there's punishment to be had. And we can fall to our knees before the Blessed Mother, wherever she is, there she is, right? And we could say, Mom, please, intercede for me, right? Tell Jesus I'm sorry for me, please, right? Anyways, so that was a long detour. I forgot what we were talking about. Oh, how do we live that good life as if Jesus was coming back? The first thing that we recognize is that God has already come. So no matter how bad things get, no matter how messy our life gets, there's always a way to get back to Jesus. Everything can be okay for us in the end. It won't necessarily. We can mess up and we can ignore God, and then it's not going to be okay for us. But here's the thing, y'all. No matter how messed up your life gets, no matter how far away you go, you can always come back. Because God has come among us. And He is a good shepherd who goes and finds His lost sheep. So no matter how bad life can get, we can start at that point and say, you know what, it's all going to be okay. It's going to be okay. But then how do we stay focused, right? Because I've done that a million times. I've messed my life up and I've come to the Lord and I've said, I'm sorry, and I start over again, but then I mess up again. Well, here's the thing. Remember in the prophet Isaiah here, the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, a spirit of wisdom and of understanding, a spirit of counsel and of strength, the spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord, and his delight shall be the piety in the Lord, or his delight will be in the fear of the Lord, right? What do we call those? Do you know it in English? The gifts of the Holy Spirit. What is that in Spanish? You get them at confirmación. Okay, good. Everybody hear that? Because I couldn't. Yes, del Espíritu Santo. Yes. I am so bad at this. Yes. We use those because, y'all, we are given those. What does John the Baptist say? Right here you go. Let's see. He will baptize with the Holy Spirit and with fire. How many of you here are baptized? Everybody. Probably everybody. Good. Do you know what that means? Because you were baptized in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, like Jesus asked us to be baptized, you were baptized in the Holy Spirit with fire. You have those gifts of the Holy Spirit. Courage. You have the spirit of knowledge. You have the ability to be counseled by God. To avoid sin because you were afraid to offend God, fear of the Lord. You have a welling up of love in your heart for God from the gift that we call piety. All these gifts, if you recognize in your own life that those things that you need to live a holy life have already been given to you in the gifts of the Holy Spirit, and that Jesus has already come, and that God is here among us, and that He's coming again, what is there to fear? What do we have to be afraid of? The only thing we have to be afraid of is ourselves. Because we're the only ones that can hurt our relationship with God. Because all those other things are true, nothing else can hurt us. And so we use those gifts to live our life in such a way that each and every day we are preparing for Jesus to come back. I want each one of you to be able to get to the end of your day today and lay down in your bed and say, if Jesus comes tonight, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to go out and meet Him and be real excited to see Him because He's my friend. That's how our lives should be lived. That at any moment of any day, we'd be okay if God called us back. We'd be okay if we had to die. We'd be okay if the trumpets blasted and the sky parted and God descended and He came again in the end of time. We'd be okay. We'd be happy for that. We use those gifts to direct our lives, to prioritize what we do, to do things the right way, to always avoid doing things the wrong way. These gifts have been given to us so that we can live our lives in such a way that no earthly undertaking will hinder us, because we have set out to meet Christ, the Son of God. This season of Advent is a time for us to refocus, reevaluate the way that we have been living. Because, y'all, I have not been living the best way that I could be living. I haven't. And I'm spending time thinking about that this Advent season. How can I live better? What priorities need to be bigger in my life? What things need to be smaller in my life? What worldly undertakings are keeping me from my prayers? What worldly undertakings are keeping me from praying the Mass as best I can? Now, for most of you, it's your children, right? How many of you are struggling with a child right now? I saw one over there. Yeah. For a lot of you, it's just like your kids are crawling all over you and they're like hanging off of you. That's fine. You can't do anything about that. That's not a problem, okay? But did you do everything you could before Mass? Did you read the readings before you got here? So that if your kids are hanging off of you, it's okay, you didn't miss the reading because you know what they are already? Right? Did you gather in your mind all of the people and issues that you want to bring to the altar of God to this Mass? Did you do that before you got here? Right? Are you ready to do this Mass? Right? Or did things get in the way beforehand? Right? I know money and resources can be difficult for some of you, but do you work needlessly? Do you work more than you need to, especially on Sunday? Right? Do you work more than you need to and your family never sees you? Or when they do see you, you're grumpy and angry because you're tired and you've worked all day. And now they don't want to see you. Do you get tired of doing the same vocation that God has given you day in and day out? Moms, mothers, I don't know how you do it. Your world never stops. You never quit being mom. No matter how sick you are, no matter how tired you are, no matter how frustrated at your husband you are, your world never stops. You're always mom. You've always got to be mom. And that's a good thing. But do you allow that to make you lose your patience? Do you become unlovable towards your children because they're a pain in the butt? Right? Children, do you get tired of being obedient to your parents? No, this one says no, I see, okay. No, he's always perfect. Who gets tired of being obedient to their parents? How many of you find being obedient hard sometimes? You're all liars, all of you little kids, all little liars. All of us, we all do at some point or another, right? Why? Why is it hard for us to obey our parents? Because they usually tell us to do what we need to do when we'd rather be doing something else, right? Y'all, this is the point of this whole Mass. Being preoccupied, wanting to do other things when the Lord is calling us to do something else. What the Lord is calling us to do is to be holy. Now, we are allowed to do everything in the world that we want to. We can do anything we want to as long as it does not keep us from being holy. And anything that keeps us from being holy, no matter how little it is, we have to work on getting rid of it completely. So that when Jesus comes again, we're not distracted. We're not tired because we stayed up too late playing a video game. but we'll be excited and ready to run out to see the Lord when he comes again. Take the time this Advent season to prepare to run out and meet the Lord when he comes.